Stop chasing someone who runs every time you get close. Seriously, stop. Because what I'm about to show you isn't another way to win them over. It's what makes them finally see what they're losing. And the last one? It's the thing that separates people who stay stuck from people who either get the relationship they deserve or walk away with their peace intact. Look, you're exhausted. You've been the only one trying, the only one reaching out, the only one fighting for this relationship while they just disappear. And yes, space matters. Understanding matters. But nobody tells you when enough is enough. Nobody tells you that there's a point where being patient becomes losing yourself. So here's what I'm going to show you. 5 things you do for yourself that either wake them up or give you the clarity to move on. And these aren't boundaries you set with them. These are boundaries you set with yourself, about what you will and won't accept anymore. Either they step up, or you get your answer. And honestly, both outcomes set you free. Number 1. Stop chasing completely, and watch what they do. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. If you have to chase someone to keep them in your life, they don't actually want to be there. I know that stings, but let me explain what's really happening when you stop chasing an avoidant. There's this thing called the Phantom X effect that Dr. Amir Levine talks about in his book Attached. When you remove yourself from the picture, some avoidants suddenly remember what they had. The pressure lifts. Their nervous system calms down. And if they actually valued you, they'll reach out. Not with breadcrumbs, with real effort. But here's the part most people don't tell you. Some avoidants won't come back. And that's not because you did something wrong. It's because they're not capable of meeting you halfway right now. Maybe ever. And when you stop chasing, you're not playing a game. You're giving yourself the gift of truth. An avoidant who's actually working on themselves will notice your absence and do something about it. They'll reach out with genuine curiosity. They'll ask how you are. They'll make plans. An avoidant who's not ready to change, they'll let you fade away and feel relieved that the pressure's off. And honestly, isn't that the answer you needed? If this is hitting home already, hit that like button so I know you're tired of the games too. Number 2. Stay emotionally stable, but not for them. Here's the part people misunderstand about emotional stability. Yes, staying calm helps, but not because you're trying to be the perfect partner who never has needs. You stay emotionally stable for you, because you deserve to feel grounded regardless of what they're doing. Your peace isn't a performance to keep them comfortable. Avoidants are drawn to emotional stability, sure. Their childhood usually taught them that emotions are dangerous, that vulnerability gets punished. So they're scanning for chaos, drama, neediness. And when they don't find it, they feel safer. But here's what you need to understand. You're not trying to make them feel safe so they'll love you. You're staying stable so you can think clearly about whether this person is worth your energy. When you handle your emotions like an adult, when you don't spiral because they need space, when you feel your feelings without making them someone else's emergency, something important happens. You get to see their behavior clearly, without the fog of anxiety, without excusing them because you're scared of losing them. And here's the test. An avoidant who's doing the inner work will appreciate your stability and start matching it. They'll feel safe enough to try being vulnerable. But an avoidant who's not ready, they'll take your stability as permission to keep doing the bare minimum. They'll see that you're not falling apart, so they'll assume everything's fine while giving you nothing. Your emotional stability isn't a performance for them. It's your superpower for seeing the situation clearly. And trust me, clarity is what you need right now, not more confusion. In a moment, I'm going to share the crucial boundary that makes avoidance either step up or step out. But first, Let's talk about your life. Number 3. Build a life they're not the center of, and mean it. This isn't about making them jealous. This isn't about posting on social media hoping they'll see you're doing fine. This is about genuinely rebuilding your life so that whether they're in it or not, you're good. You need hobbies, friends, goals, dreams that have nothing to do with them. And I don't mean as a strategy. I mean because you're an actual person who existed before them and will exist after them. When you make someone your whole world, you lose yourself. And here's the brutal part. Avoidance can sense when you're faking independence versus when you've actually moved on with your life. Here's what happens when you genuinely build your own life. You become unavailable sometimes. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you actually have things to do. And this creates a fork in the road for the avoidant. An avoidant who values you will notice the shift. They'll wonder what you're doing, who you're with, why you're not as available. And if they care, they'll reach out more. They'll initiate. They'll try. But an avoidant who was just keeping you around as a backup plan, they'll be fine with you being busy. They'll actually feel relieved. Less pressure, less guilt about not showing up. And that's your answer right there. Real talk. What's the hardest part about pulling back from someone who keeps pulling away from you? Drop it in the comments, because I know this isn't easy, and you're not alone in this. The point isn't to create mystery to manipulate them. The point is to remember you're a whole person with a whole life, and anyone who wants to be in it needs to actually show up for it. Number 4. Stop trying to fix them. They're not your project. Listen to me carefully. You cannot love someone into healing. You cannot be patient enough, understanding enough, accommodating enough to fix their attachment issues. That's their work, not yours. I know you've been trying. I know you've been doing everything right, giving them space when they need it, being there when they finally open up, learning about attachment theory so you can understand them better. And all of that is good, but here's what nobody tells you. There's a point where your effort stops being support and starts being you carrying the entire relationship alone. And that's when you end up exhausted, confused, and still feeling like you're not enough. Dr. Sue Johnson, who created emotionally focused therapy, works with couples to help them understand that real change comes from within. You can create a safe space, sure, but you cannot force someone to do their healing work. You cannot make them go to therapy. You cannot make them read the books or do the exercises or face their trauma. They have to want to change. And here's the boundary you need. Stop accepting "I have avoidant attachment" as an excuse for bad behavior. Having an attachment style explains their patterns. It doesn't excuse them treating you like an option. It doesn't give them permission to disappear and reappear whenever it's convenient. It doesn't mean you have to accept breadcrumbs and call it love. A self-aware avoidant who's working on their patterns will tell you what they're doing. They'll say, "I know I pull away when things get close, and I'm trying to catch myself doing that." They'll apologize when they mess up. They'll show you they're trying, even if it's imperfect. An avoidant who isn't ready to change will use their attachment style as a free pass. "That's just how I am. I need space. I can't help it." And they'll expect you to just deal with it forever, while they do nothing to change. You're not their therapist. You're not their mother. You're not their rehabilitation project. You're supposed to be their partner. And partners meet each other halfway. Number 5. Know your worth, and actually walk away if they don't match it. Here's the big one. The boundary that changes everything. You need to know your worth so deeply that you're genuinely willing to walk away from someone who can't meet you halfway. Not as a threat, not as a tactic, as a real standard. Because here's what I've learned watching people in these situations. The only thing that makes an avoidant actually change is the real risk of losing you. Not the fear of it, not the threat of it. The actual reality that you're done accepting less than you deserve. You know what's magnetic to avoidants? People who don't need them. Not in a cold way, but in a, I love you, I want this to work, but I'm not going to beg you to choose me way. Psychology research consistently shows that avoidants are more drawn to partners who demonstrate self-worth and independence. Not because they're playing games, but because they genuinely have options and they're choosing to be here. For now. But here's what most people miss. This only works if you mean it. You can't fake knowing your worth. You can't pretend you're ready to walk away while secretly hoping they'll panic and change. Avoidants can sense desperation from a mile away. They know when you're bluffing. So this isn't a strategy. This is a decision. You decide what you will and won't accept. You decide that you deserve someone who's willing to work on themselves. Someone who shows up consistently. Someone who doesn't make you feel crazy for wanting basic relationship things like communication and presence. And then you mean it. When they disappear again, you don't chase. When they breadcrumb you, you don't accept it. When they say they need space, you give it to them permanently if that's what they really want. You stop negotiating with someone about whether you're worth their effort. Here's what happens next, and this is important. One of two things. Either they wake up and realize they're about to lose something real, and they actually start doing the work. Or they let you go. And if they let you go, that's not a failure. That's clarity. That's freedom. That's the universe telling you that you were pouring into someone who had nothing to pour back. The avoidants who are ready to change, who are capable of a real relationship, who actually value you, they step up when they realize you're serious. Not perfectly, not overnight, but they try. They go to therapy. They communicate. They show you through actions, not just words, that they're working on it. The ones who aren't ready, they disappear. And you get to stop wondering. You get to stop hoping. You get to stop waiting for someone to choose you who was never going to. Your worth isn't negotiable. And anyone who makes you feel like you have to earn their attention or beg for their love is showing you exactly who they are. Believe them. These 5 boundaries aren't about winning someone back. They're about winning yourself back. Either you end up with someone who's finally willing to meet you halfway, or you end up free. And both of those outcomes are better than where you are right now. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.